Hey guys, this is Josh from Grappling, and today we're going to talk about catch wrestling. By the way, if you like this video, please like and share. It really helps, and subscribe. As well as if you see me doing tics, I got Tourette syndrome, so that's why. Okay, catch wrestling. Developed in 1871 by a guy named J.G. Chambers. Okay, originally named Catch as Catch Can, and it was an amalgamation of three wrestling styles, which were Cumberland and Westmoreland wrestling, Cornwall and Devon wrestling, and Lancashire wrestling. Now, on top of that, Catch as Catch Can would be influenced heavily by Greco-Roman wrestling, Japanese Jiu-Jitsu, and Iranian styles such as Varsash Pahlavi. I always can't pronounce that, but Iranian martial arts. And catch wrestlers would develop moves called hooks, which were submissions. And the goal of a catch wrestling match was to pin the opponent or hook them, which would submit them. Now, what makes catch different than Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? So in BJJ, you have a huge mantra, and I'm a BJJ practitioner as well, not so good, but yeah. And the mantra everyone knows is position before submission. Now, catch has a very different theory that it's submission before position. In that they believe that they can cause pain to create openings for submissions and pins. And a lot of times you can power through submissions because it's right there. And you can see that because usually a catch wrestler will go so fast for a submission, you're not going to see it. And it might not be the cleanest at the beginning, but they're very technical in submissions and they're really masters of submissions, especially with the fine tuning them. Catch wrestling always had a ton of leg locks. BJJ now has caught up. There's no doubt about it. And as well as catch wrestling has a lot of moves that are actually illegal in jiu-jitsu and submission wrestling, such as neck cranks and spine locks, which are fully allowed. Example, the can opener. In early days of grappling and MMA, you would see the can opener. For example, Mark Kerr would do the can opener on a lot of jiu-jitsu guys when he was in the guard. That's when you pull the head and neck downwards, and it creates an immense amount of strain on the neck, and he would tap guys out or open their guard. And nowadays that's illegal because it can really hurt the spine. Okay. Another thing about catch wrestling in history is that judo and catch wrestling actually had a huge kind of a fight, especially the Kodokan in there. So in 1914, there was a huge combat showdown that took place between the world judo champion named Tokuguro Ito and the world light heavyweight catch wrestling champion named Ad Santel. Now, Ad Santel won the match and then declared himself the world judo champion, which did not go well with Goro Kano and the judo community. And I can see that, I'm a big judo fan as well. So over the years, Kano and the Kodokan would send three of their absolute best competitive judokas to try and defeat Ad Santel, and none of them would defeat him. Ad actually won each match. And eventually, Tokuguro Ito would fight Santel again and avenge his loss by beating Santel. And actually it was the first and only time that Ad Santel lost. So just to take a notice of it. So catch is very valid because back in those days, judo was monstrous. Okay. Catch wrestling is also basically the father of Luta Livre in Brazil. So catch found its way to Brazil in around 1927 in Rio de Janeiro. And the guy who brought it was Euclides Tatu Hatem. And he started to teach the public catch wrestling with his own refined techniques. Now, his refinement of the techniques kind of broke off and they started to create Luta Livre, which, if you know the history of martial arts in Brazil and Jiu-Jitsu, it was the nemesis of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, especially in the 20th century, with many famous battles between Luta Livre fighters and BJJ guys. So catch basically is Luta Livre, okay? I'm not sure if that'll piss off guys, but it's the truth. Now, this is the most interesting. Catch wrestling's influence on Iowa wrestling, okay? Iowa is a powerhouse in American wrestling. I mean, has a culture, and it, in a way, kind of even like how Dagestan has their own culture of wrestling, Iowa also has its own culture of wrestling, has produced amazing wrestlers in the past, amazing wrestling programs, etc. Now, Two of the most influential catch wrestlers of all time were Farmer Burns and Frank Gotch, who were truly American legends of catch. Okay, these guys were awesome. Now, both Burns and Gotch were actually born and raised in Iowa, and both had illustrious careers in wrestling and catch wrestling, which ultimately laid the foundation of Iowa's wrestling culture, mentality, you got to know that, and system. And in a way, you could say they were the grandfathers of wrestling in Iowa, if you look back in history. Now, catch's influence definitely can be seen in that. And Iowa is a true powerhouse when it comes to wrestling. They've produced many national, world, and Olympic wrestling champions, and they're going to continue to do so. Okay, and if you look back far enough, there is an influence of catch wrestling in there. Okay, now what can be learned from catch wrestling? I mean, if you're a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner, a Judo practitioner, you're a wrestler, you just want to learn stuff. What can you learn? So catch wrestling is excellent for learning to finish submissions, even for BJJ guys, especially without the gi. That I've seen, catch wrestling has excellent small, minute details that can really make the difference in a lot of submissions that you don't see normally in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. That can give you somewhat of an advantage when you're going to fight another BJJ competitor, especially no gi, especially finishing off submissions or flowing to other submissions. Okay, so that's what can really be learned there. And who are some influential catch wrestlers for modern day grappling? Well, a big one from the past was Luta. Also, you have Tony Cicchini, amazing catch wrestler, has great video series. The great Eric Paulson, big fan. Josh Barnett, student of Eric Paulson, huge fan. Although he also learned from Matt Hume, who Pancrase in a way also is influenced by catch wrestling. So there you go. Kazushi Sakuraba, definitely. Neil Melanson, Danny Hodge, the great Judo Gene LaBelle, Billy Robson, and the most surprising, Mitsuya Maeda, who actually trained Helio and Carlos Gracie. He actually studied catch wrestling as well too. So, in closing, catch wrestling. In the community of grappling, especially Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, there seems sometimes to be kind of an animosity between catch and Jiu-Jitsu. But why not learn both of those worlds? And catch wrestling can definitely offer any grappler some formidable submissions, as well as it's a great grappling style to know as well. And we've seen it. It works in grappling. It works definitely in MMA with Sakuraba's dominance. I mean, he beat several Gracies, catch was there. Josh Barnett in MMA, and even he's entered jiu-jitsu tournaments winning them. And he was a force to reckon with in submission grappling as well. So check it out. It's a great martial art and a great grappling system. To all the catch guys, keep on hooking. And if you like this video, subscribe and like, and have a good day.